Guess who? Looks like it's almost August 19th, and I'm on a mission. I found something that I had totally forgot about, which was the plan. Um, Someone put it up because it's true and the facts can be verified. But they're all dead and gone. Most important thing is this. That was 2007. This is 2021. And it's just how it works. So there must be a reason I'm still here, if nothing else, to post it online everywhere I can so that the truth never dies. So here we go, and we got another couple of minutes. So, like I said, this thing in Afghanistan is just like what I'm getting ready to talk about. Totally mismanaged. These elites, they don't understand nothing about anything. You know why? Because they always have had everything. And if they needed anything, they simply just took it. And they didn't care about the consequences. Well, people are referring to in the upcoming, and I have no idea how I saved this. But this is all true, it's all factual, and that's just how the Lord works. Once it's online, it'll go viral. Probably should be wearing a coat and tie. Probably should have trimmed up a little bit. All right, we're getting there. We're almost at the 3-minute mark. So here we go. Part 2 of my life before they killed me.
That the enemy had been defeated, that he had been overturned in his decision, and his mouth had hung him. Chapter 9:22 of the book of Esther. They rested from their enemies, and from sorrow it went to gladness. Proverbs 18:18. To cast lots puts an end to the disputes and decides between powerful rivals. Haman had cast lots on Pur to find a lucky day to crush and consume and destroy his enemies. Purim is named after Pur, or to cast lots. Chapter 9, verse 26. The fast is on the 13th and is celebrated because they mobilized for war. When Adar comes, joy is increased. The plot, it was overturned. The traps had been set, but they were overturned. Bob Hartley's surgery was on Purim. Patricia Gray snapped my back, and my back no longer hurts. He had to go around the world for a surgery to heal his back. Remember, when your enemy falls, do not be happy. And when he stumbles, let your heart not rejoice. However, there was an exception made with Haman, because he had a spirit of absolute evil. Just as joy is reduced from the start of Av, likewise joy is increased at the start of Adar. I saw Brian Hartley looking at my computer. I asked him if anything had changed. My soul is distressed, my heart aches. I must fight another day. Resurrection versus reincarnation. Luke 19:10. Zacharias, the tax man, a man devoted to sin and a sinner better than most, declared to the Lord he would give half of all his goods so that he might be restored. And he declared that if he had cheated them, he would give back 4 times as much. The Lord told him that this very day salvation had come his way and his whole house, and was saved, and that Zacharias was a true spiritual son of Abraham. Remember, the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. Loudly I heard, Bob Hartley is back. The weekend of 300 came, and I read in Mountaintop by Robert Whitlow on page 300, Proverbs 17, which led me to Psalm 18:17. So, page 300 of Whitlow's book, Mountaintop, Proverbs 18:17, Psalms 18:17. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from those who hated and abhorred me, for they were too strong for me. The proverb says, he who states his case first seems right, until his rival comes and cross-examines him. Matthew 12:37, your mouth. Wait until June, when you will finish. The Farmers Market Program. The Scroll of Esther, Meglaha, means notchable and affordable. In a room I saw water spilled on the floor. As the water spread out, it formed limbs and branches. I saw it move toward yoga props, and knew the only way to change the flow was to pull on the trunk and move its location. I was sitting at a table with McGoverns. I was sitting next to Lauren. As I was talking, I pushed my chair away from the round table, but I continued talking and kept sitting. I said to her, you think there are things going on with me that I could have fixed. There is only one thing going on, and it happened a few years ago. Well, really, more than one. Right now you look at me and don't see how it could have happened. I was framed by a dead ringer. You will not understand, because you are not 30, you are not 40, you are not even 50. And by the time you do understand what has happened, I will be gone. Going back to this, in a room I saw water spilled on the floor. As the water spread out, it formed limbs and branches. I saw it move toward yoga props and knew the only way to change the flow was to pull on the trunk and move it to a new location. This is the Sunday that Joe Allen and Bonnie asked me why I had come on Sunday if I had given up when she didn't come to the Christmas party. I said I'd had a dream. This was the dream. I knocked many times for Lauren, but in the dream I only knocked once. And I don't believe this is about women. I believe this is about church, future children, and teaching them how to deal with what is coming upon the face of the earth. For I am an old man, and what woman would be interested in me? I saw the UFC training schedule for a team that was gold and white, training every day except Wednesday, which was when they had the invited guest motivational speaker. The other team is purple and white, which happens to be the colors of Darling Yoga. Ami, you are my people. Ruhama, who has been pitied and obtained mercy. I looked to them and said, you are my people. And they pitied me, and I obtained mercy. Hosea 2:1. There was a long table, and every chair had a person in it. I walked around it and looked at each person, but there was no chair there for me. It can change for the McGoverns in a day, even tomorrow. dull bro must die. Yeah, I think the dull boy must die. But I don't know what that means, for it is not good that any man should die, but that he should obtain glory and to rise and reign with Christ. Why I have written here that the victor will lose, I do not know. But I do know that it will die down. And after meeting Joe Allen, I had a vision at the yoga studio. I heard death and destruction. But a little black dog did survive. And he was happy. And he was fulfilled. And he wasn't worried. So I believe that what will happen to me will cost me half of everything I have. But the dog will survive. I saw a group of guys fishing and talking about all of this. Emily was wearing a W on her shirt. I saw a family get too close to Korea and they sunk their ship. In the vision, I was talking to her and she said that she was supposed to go to Patricia's Gray's party but decided to do something else. She would have done it differently now if she had known. Wayne, do not become distracted by women. Remember, there are other things greater than this. The yellow Darfur. It is not just yellow press or rotten tomatoes. But we are the survivors from the survival of the fittest. By the destruction of prey and of human rivals, the fighting instinct is ingrained. Robert E. Lee said, "It is good that war is so distasteful lest we enjoy it too much. When unchecked, it gives us pleasure, especially where a hunt or a fight is promised as part of the firm." I told Pepper that she was a tough girl. She would not have reacted that way unless she thought I did not know that she was part of the tough man people. Human nature is not a pretty thing. Man is only a social animal, secondarily, Aristotle said. We are imprinted with traits of anger, hate, fear, where the survival of one's family is more than the regard for the defeat and the death of others. Tribal history has worked because the problems of bringing together in large numbers of men with predacious disposition who suppress their nature and sinister traits for a better thing, that of living together with advantages of combination against a hostile outside world and preying on it more successfully in numbers and in common. For you see, to kill and to eat is to survive, to be at war with all whom they did not have a peace pact with. Thus the origin of the blood brother. A part of one's self to prevent injury to him or to himself. The UFC, Ultimate Fighting Champions. The Yellow Journal exists because of the existence of primitive emotions and antisocial behavior, because they give us pleasure and people pay to experience the shock of it all. I am sorry. I had 3 cocktails. I became distracted. That is why I wasn't there at the party. Isaiah 33:14. They who have transgressed against the moral standard are afraid. Trembling has seized those whose hope is not in the one who is most high. Their lamentations is, who among us can dwell with that devouring fire? Who among us can dwell with those everlasting burnings? To farm is to cultivate the soil. The burning passion and enlightenment of God, from God, with Jesus as the head, master, who guides and lights the path. Clairvoyance is a clearness, a quick, intuitive knowledge of things. It is the ability to see beyond the natural range of vision, a seer, clear. October 23, 2006, I became illuminated. Whatever they do to me, they may. But I am free, and I see clearly. I am free of the darkness, and I now live in the light. I will never be in that room again. I will not be in Studio B. For you see, sex is the instinct or the attraction of drawing one sex toward another, and its manifestation in life and in conduct. I do not believe that they will make me fall. I do not believe that they know how to notch my tree properly. Yes, they thought I was notchable. Yes, they thought I was affordable. Treacherously they have dealt. They have violated a faith. They have been deceptive and unreliable. They are unstable and they are insecure. I believe Joe and Bonnie Allen can turn this around. But they must pray and trust in the Spirit of God, which I know is in them. A man named Dave built Space Mountain, he said. I believe he goes by another name, but I speak of it later. I told him about, it's not all-timers, it's old-timers. I'll think of it tomorrow. And he laughed and said it was just the old geezer's night out. Remember this. Never brag. Don't have an ego. Don't act like you own the place. The bear is in Galatians 6:2. It's a bear to endure and carry one another's burdens and troublesome moral faults. Fulfill and observe perfectly the law of Christ and complete what is lacking in your obedience to it. Wrestling takes discipline, and through discipline comes a level of self-confidence. If self-confidence in a match has any value, it is this. It teaches the individual to deal with a momentary failure, but not to be defeated. The ultimate measure of an individual is how they pick themselves up and move on. Crawfordsville, Indiana. Maple syrup industry. Saps up, needs to be tapped. Too much testosterone out there for us eunuchs. And remember, don't get out of the boat and don't get off the reservation. Space Mountain Dave and Joanne. Victor Roberts. When Samson took the wife, it began a war. But when Joseph was given one, peace reigned in the land. I was in a bathroom like at Darling Yoga. An outhouse. The showers there were poop holes. From outside looking in through a hole was a big black bear with black eyes. I immediately saw danger for Tammy. I was shook. I was afraid. I knew I'd have to shit or get off the pot. The Gordian knot is sometimes a metaphor for conquering the impossible. Remember Tammy's dream. Gina's name on an erasable board. The permanent name was Darling. Yoga. In my dream, Emily dropped some boxes down by my yoga mat, with me there. I do not know why she did that. Tammy thought she wanted me to look inside of them. I think she told me that there can only be one. I believe it was a test to see if I would stick my finger in the cream puff and be disqualified. I cannot do it because I want a queen to reign beside me. I believe Space Mountain Dave may be Bill Watkins. Let there be a time out for things to die down as plants do in summer heat and autumn frosts. For things did change in a day, and now the bear is watching. My 5th grade school teacher had a thing or a fling with Walt Disney. And remember him drawing in a room upstairs over her garage or her parents' garage. December 16th, 1952, I was 3 months old. He formed WED Enterprises, which built Epcot Space Mountain, and with whom Emily's party were full of people who I thought were working on their inner space, but instead were from outer space. Walter Elias Disney, now known simply as Imagineering, which means imagination and engineering. The movies that the Hartleys are involved in, which by most accounts are over 100 a year, produced by Christians, controlled group, is Walt Disney. Roy Disney, I believe, is still alive. It's a small world after all. Victor is the one who invited me to the opening of Darling Yoga. Sumya Anani is Pepper's man on the inside, but now I think it may be Lisa Uhl, where Pepper may know nothing about much of anything except she's ambitious and she learned technique from me. This is the UFC dream. Pepper is not only a tough girl, she's an ultimate fighting girl. When Jim took my movie pass, Jim Hartley took my movie pass, I gave it up freely. Now I have the ultimate movie pass. Free movies, maybe forever. Disney, MGM, pass. The airline connection comes from Al Chechi, who was a board member on Northwest and Disney as of 1989. The flight uniforms designed by Claude Montana Designs. Disney owns ABC, which is the Times Square Morningstar connection. Sam Brownback. Detroit WXYZ, The Lone Ranger. Sergeant Preston, Sky King, How to Secure a Place at the Table. How to secure a place at the table. The White Knight for ABC was United Paramount Theaters. The Divorce, Where They Truly Separate. 1984, ABC purchased a major stake in ESPN. 1996, Walt Disney Company acquired Capital Cities ABC, renamed it ABC Inc. The former president of ABC, How I Barely Survived, 435. Let me put a stop to one thought and start another one. The former president of ABC. In the dream, I was on the highway and forced over to the right and drove through the orange barricades. But I did come out on the other side. I had survived 435. I was shocked awake. I saw the highway patrol step out from his car and point his finger for me to pull over. I believe I was in the produce truck and I was going to the farm. Do not drive until Oklahoma issue is okay. Do not get off the reservation. This is what may be finished by June. I either have to survive until 4:35 in the evening or I have to survive 435 days because I cannot live another 435 years. Keep doing what you are doing until then, which is everything you can, which is absolutely nothing that I can do. Remember this, chain gangs are there to humiliate us and to deter crime. My enemy did this to humiliate and deter me, and to create fear so that I would act irrationally. Bonnie Jo Darling of Elkhart, Indiana. Her mother is Mildred V. Darling, who was a former resident of Greenleaf Manor Apartments. Elkhart, Indiana. Why would someone pick a crime from 1986, March 29, and why me? Because they did not see Emily? Or did I not, or is it because I did not react irrationally against Emily because I saw a danger? I saw a danger that had to be removed first. Now it very well may be too late. I may have been disqualified. The daughters of Emily Darling, whose father would be Bonnie's dad. Don't sound right. 1982, the four-man team, We Deliver. Book answering space, published by Stewart, Tabori, and Chang. He put the satellites in the sky. But my dream was, what will you do when the satellites fall out of the sky? I knew that I would be alone, that I would be scared, and I would have to walk into a mass of what looked like fish eggs. It very well may be cells of fish eggs. They totally consumed me. Dr. Joseph P. Allen is looking for a lance. He's looking for a lance welding space-age knight. But he has forgotten who the White Knight is. This is 1985. He likes to be infinitely clever. He's Indiana Jones, Mr. Allen. A native of Crawfordsville and a graduate of DePaul University. There was a man with a camera in his hand last year who took my picture. And with that, they were able to find their dead ringer, who most likely is dead by now. Michael Kube McDowell wrote articles about Joe Allen. Someone like him took the pictures, so I repeat, someone took a picture of me in Charlotte, actually Fort Mills at Morningstar, the spring of 2006. With that picture, they put in a dead ringer. The person they confused me with may already be dead. My picture from last year was used. Why would they choose an event from 20 years ago? We will find out in the conference room. Anna Zahn, wife of Timothy Zahn, Star Wars author. Tie-ins is this photographer. If you subpoenaed all the photos of Michael Kube McDonald, would my picture be found? Who can afford that? I believe they chose Oklahoma City because Joe Allen wrestled in Stillwater, Oklahoma, is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame in Stillwater, Oklahoma. He would know people in Oklahoma. Joseph Percival Allen, Ph.D., born June 27, 1937. Their children are David Christopher, born September 1968, and Elizabeth Darling, born 1972. The white-haired lady is young Elizabeth's aunt, and her dad is David, and Grandpa is Joe. He's a physicist. His parents are Mr. and Mrs. Joseph P. Allen, Frankfort, Indiana. He attended Mill School and is a graduate of Crawfordsville High School in Indiana. He received a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics and Physics from DePaul University in 1959. He was a Master of Science and a Degree Master. He's a Doctor of Philosophy and Physics from Yale University. In 1961 and 1965, Joe Allen, member of DePaul University Board of Trustees, is or was chairman of the board of Iridian Corporation, chairman of the board, which may be a not-for-profit, but I believe it is for profit. I believe it's tied in with the U.S. military. But he is with a not-for-profit organization called the Challenger Center for Space, Science, Education. Joe Allen's father, Joseph Percival Park Allen III, class of 1930, a member of DePaul economic faculty from 1957 till retiring in 1975. I believe Jim and Bob Hartley have slandered and libeled me greatly to further their own cause by using great men like this to think badly of me. I believe they've had a dead ringer ever since I met them back in the 70s, doing things, telling them they were me, because people have just not reacted to what I've done in the way that I thought they would, because I have actually tried to be a nice guy. And I'm still trying. And I guess I'll die trying. Beridian does business with the U.S. Army. My darling is Joe Allen, who didn't like what my dad had to say and took me out because who do you think you are to walk in like that, like you own it? Do you own this? No, sir. Don't ever do that again. Yes, sir. I believe he had already had someone change the record to implicate me, and now what can he do? After September 11, 2001 attacks on the Pentagon, Beridian headquarters, Mantech Inc., and Antian Corporation were welcomed to a very nice and well-received stock market. Through Beridian, he would have had the power, the ability, and the clout to do this to me. He is chairman of the board for Beridian Corporation. Born in 1937 in India, Allen resides in Washington, D.C. with his wife Bonnie, 2 grown children. He is also an inductee into the U.S. National Hall of Fame in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I will need full representation. David Elliott, in the first meeting concerning matters in Oklahoma, told me he would not do a court appearance in Oklahoma, but he would call for Jeff City to see if he could find anything out. They thought I was going to drive to Dallas to see my dad and assassinate me on the way. They would do this when I drove through Oklahoma. But you see, the Lord has other things for me. Palm Sunday, April 1st, 2007 begins the Holy Week leading to Easter and resurrection of Jesus from the dead. Matthew 21, 1 through 11, Mark 11, 1 through 11, Luke 19, 28 through verses 44, John 12, 12 through 19. This person could have paid a ticket that wasn't me. I would have never known anything about it. And then he could have not have showed up for the court date. And they looked through all these records until they found somebody like this. Then they changed the picture. They changed the license number. They changed the birth date. And what can a man like me do about it? Even worse, what if I left the tags on that 1966 Chevy and sold it sometime in the early 80s, before I knew such things were dangerous? But I guess they're not dangerous to nobodies. It's only dangerous to people who have enemies. If this failed to appear by the arrangement date on the ticket, a bench warrant is issued or was issued back then for the arrest, and this increases to the maximum for a failure to appear. There are also additional charges for failure to appear and other fears involved. Municipal Court Building in Oklahoma Police Department and the Civic Center. I got all that. Know how to get there. I'll say it anyway. Municipal Court Building, Oklahoma Police Department, and the Civic Center Music Hall at 700 Couch Drive, north of Interstate 40, west of the Business District. Tall building, east of City Hall. Clerk's office, area code 405-297-3898. About warrants. A bench warrant is ordered when a person fails to appear in court when ordered to do so. A court order authorizing a law enforcement officer to arrest someone. A bench warrant is issued to bring him before the judge to answer the charge of contempt, his failure to appear for the first time. The guy didn't appear the first time, evidently. Now they think I am that guy. By the power of truth, I have won the world. Do you know why you are here? Yes, because I am a war protester. My father and myself have preached a message of nonviolence using the white dove and yoga philosophy to protest violent actions and to solve conflict through negotiation. Too many of our sons and daughters have died because of the decisions made on and of Wall Street. Certain businesses have benefited from war has come, and now it is time for new leaders to lead us forth. But it is not the hawks or the eagles, it is the doves who now will wage the war. This is George Washington's prophecy. When all military strength fails, only the doves, sons of peace, the angels of God, and God himself will be able to save the USA and her standard, which is Union, as her banner. Palm Sunday this year is April 1st, or April Fool's Day. Purim began on eclipse, seeing the world over, 3-307 between 6-7 p.m. February 4th was a celebration of plants, a time to bless the future harvest, but was also Super Bowl Sunday. Due to changing my address, I have taken control, with the help of the Spirit of God, to fulfill God's will and not the enemy's will. For tomorrow, Monday, just as Jesus, I go before my accusers. By Friday, at the end of the business day, they may let me go home, or they will invite me to stay the weekend. My 3 days on the cross. After that, I will rise to a higher calling and a place where I now can fulfill the will of God. I have cut my hair and anointed myself with oil. Though man thinks he does this, I go from where I came to where God wants me. He knew me before I was born. He knew my purposes. I now fulfill them. Bonnie's phone number, my mom, is 704-975-2492. Bob's phone at home is 803-548-7877. I believe Rick Joyner of Morning Star Ministries in Fort Mills, South Carolina, could help me if he's not watching me to see how I react, to see if I will run or whether I'll conquer my fears. Why do they put good men in prison? It is because they annoy the rich and the famous. They can't touch you if you don't get off the reservation. Stay at home for as long as it takes, even till June.